Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much for the interesting presentation. The third presentation on the list is on clarifying ambiguities in the Outer Space Treaty by the Observer for Space Renaissance International. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, are my slides going to be shared? Okay, thank you. So I'm Adriano, Autino, CEO and founder of Space Renaissance International, and I'm giving this presentation on behalf of Dr. Dennis O'Brien, who is the chair of the Space Law Committee of Space Renaissance. Next slide, please. Honorable delegates, fellow observers, distinguished guests, Space Renaissance International is a non-profit entity founded in 2010. Our primary mission is to open space and its resources to the people of Earth to expand civilization beyond Earth's boundaries. We believe that a permanent, sustainable civilian presence in space will be a great benefit not only to humanity's future in space, but also to humanity's future on Earth. To that end, we are promoting civilians in space as an 18th Sustainable Development Goal, Space for All, on Earth and beyond. We have helped to create an 18 SDG coalition, now 140 organizations within civil society that support the adoption of a new Sustainable Development Goal by the United Nations General Assembly. We have also created several academic committees to help educate ourselves and the public about important topics, including settlements, habitats, transportation, mining and industry, space debris, near-Earth objects, philosophy, art and space law. For more information, please visit our site, spacerenaissance.space. Next slide, please. SRI recognizes the important work of COPUOS and its legal subcommittee and recently became an official observer. We believe that it is possible to develop an international framework that will support sustainable private outer space activity while still protecting essential public policies. We also believe that the member states should engage with the private sector in the development of any such framework and any new processes and institutions. We support the working group on the legal aspects of space resource activity and the newly formed action team on lunar activity consultation and applaud their willingness to facilitate private activity in outer space and to engage with the private sector in their work. Since becoming an official observer, SRI has submitted written comments to the legal subcommittee. We acknowledge that the Outer Space Treaty of 1967 is the international agreement with the broadest support. We agree that it should be the foundation of any international framework for outer space activity. However, it is ambiguous or even silent concerning outer space resource activity, especially activity by the private sector. SRI believes that supporting the private sector is good public policy. We need its resources, talent, diversity, creativity, and enthusiasm for a sustainable human presence in outer space. This is not to say that the public sector does not have those things, but it is not enough. Government budgets alone cannot provide adequate funding. We must expand to the free market economy into outer space for a sustainable human presence. To do that, there are four ambiguities. First and most important, we must clarify that resources removed from in place can become private property under national law, that such removal is not inherently appropriation, which is prohibited by Article 2 of the Outer Space Treaty. Secondly, we must clarify that all stations, installations and facilities are within the legal jurisdiction and control of the country that authorizes and supervises them. This is implied in Article 12 of the Outer Space Treaty and made explicit in Article 12 of the Moon Agreement. This will assure that the installations and facilities used for outer space resource activity remain within the control of the private nationals who built them in accordance with their own national laws. The third clarification concerns intellectual property rights. These are not mentioned in either the Outer Space Treaty or the Moon Agreement, but are specifically supported by Section 119 of the long-term sustainability guidelines that were unanimously adopted by COPUOS in 2019. SRI supports the policy of sharing as much information as possible. This will help promote transparency, avoid harmful interference, and advance scientific knowledge and research and benefit emerging countries. But any new agreement must clarify that private intellectual property rights are protected. The third clarification, the fourth clarification concerns the concept of due regard for the interests of others as required by Article 9 of the Outer Space Treaty. SRI believes that Article 9 focus on consultation requires a registration of all planned activities on the Moon and other celestial bodies. Similarly, we believe that Article 9's mandate to avoid harmful contamination requires all countries to conduct an environmental impact assessment for all planned activities. Finally, we believe that due regard and avoidance of harmful interference should be used not only to protect the present interests of those who begin resource activities, but also to protect the future interests of those who will follow, including countries, their nationals, and future settlements. Space Renaissance International is based on a fundamental belief that supporting private activity in outer space will benefit the Earth and its people. Clarifying these four ambiguities will give all interested stakeholders, including companies, investors, and future settlers, the certainty they need to be part of a sustainable human presence in outer space. This last point highlights the unique role of Space Renaissance International as an official COPUOS observer. We speak for the settlers. We speak for those who feel compelled to establish a human presence behind our home planet. It is not too early to begin to consider the interests of outer space settlers and settlements, just as Article 9 considers the interests of all member states. To this end, we ask the Legal Subcommittee to acknowledge the Declaration of the Right to Development adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1986. Article 1 of the Declaration states that the right to development is an inalienable human right by virtue of which every human person and all peoples are entitled to participate in, contribute to, and enjoy economic, social, cultural, and political development in which all human rights and fundamental freedoms can be fully realized. We also ask the Legal Subcommittee to acknowledge the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948 and its applicability to individuals working and living in outer space. Acknowledging these rights will benefit both the people of Earth and those who settle elsewhere. At the very least, any new agreement or principle should include the statement that nothing in the agreement or principles shall be interpreted as constraining the rights of settlers or settlements under customary international law. Humanity is facing a historical crisis when just a slight shift can cause massive changes that can last for decades and even centuries. The closest parallel occurred 5 centuries ago when the age of exploration became the age of imperialism. Then, as now, countries with advanced technologies sought to control the resources of new worlds, creating a legacy of war, suffering, and neglect that is still being felt today. We are concerned that humanity is about to repeat that pattern. There are some who assert that whoever gets to a place first gets to make the rules and can establish resource exclusion zones. Others have declared outright that space is a war-fighting domain. Meanwhile, humanity is being challenged by other issues. Every day we wake up to news of worsening climate change, increasing social unrest, and rising international tensions. To that has now been added the threat of conflict in outer space. The people of Earth have begun to lose faith in their governments, their private institutions, even humanity itself. They are beginning to lose hope. Our duty is nothing less than to restore that hope, to counter the despair of war and violence and neglect, to give the people of our planet a future that can believe in. We should do everything within our collective power to promote peace and prosperity in outer space, as it may be the best way to promote peace and prosperity on Earth. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you very much for your valuable presentation. The fourth presentation on my list is on the third International Moon Day,